Good afternoon, everyone. This is Attorney Ahmad Yakzan from the American Dream Law Office, joining you on our weekly live session with everyone. I do have a list of about 100 questions regarding immigration today. I am going to see if I can get through as many of them as I could. If you are watching us from TikTok, I would really appreciate if the follow and the like. If you're watching us from any other social media platforms, I would really appreciate it if you do the same. Again, we do this every week to answer questions about all of your immigration queries. We actually put this list together over 2 weeks. Last week I wasn't able to go live because I was in Washington D.C. and I had some court hearings to take care of over there. But if you again if you're on TikTok, I would really appreciate the heart and the follow and the like on any other platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch today. So just like and follow or give us a heart on TikTok. I would really appreciate it. So a couple of really big things happening at the American Dream Law Office this week. Next week, we're going to have our first podcast session published on all platforms that you like. We're going to be on Spotify, Amazon, on Masterclass, and all of those platforms where you like to listen to your podcast. So if you like to hear our podcast, we'll be on all of the podcasting platforms next week. The URL for the podcast is americandreamteam.law. Again, that's americandreamteam.law, and you'll be able to watch it either on our website, or you can go on any of your favorite podcasting platforms and be able to download it. Follow us and like us over there. I would really appreciate if we can get some likes after the first episode drops. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things on the first episode. One of them, which is my journey to come here to the United States and become all the way from being a student in college all the way to becoming a U.S. citizen. That's my favorite subject to speak about when I do these videos. So when you're looking for some inspiration or looking for some ways to come here to the United States, my story would really help you. Just follow us. Again, it's americandreamteam.law, and that would be amazing if I can get some follows and likes. I would really appreciate it. The second thing I wanted to talk about is I was in DC all of last week, as I said, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. We watched the parade on July 4th, and if you're in the United States and you haven't seen the fireworks on July 4th in Washington D.C. over the National Mall, I think you should put it on your bucket list. So if you're looking for your next vacation and during the summer, go there to Washington D.C. during July 4th. Again, we can comment with questions if you have them. If you have a question that I didn't answer, please comment it. And if you are on TikTok, please press that heart or send us a gift. I would really appreciate it. And then if you're on Instagram or Facebook, please like us and follow us. I would really appreciate it. All right. So the first question that I received for this week was, can I apply for citizenship if I won the lottery? Of course, if you win billions of dollars in the Powerball, you can do whatever you want, but we're not talking about that lottery. We're talking about the green card lottery that the United States government has every year to bring people from outside the United States that are misrepresented or underrepresented in the United States. And the diversity visa program was actually put together in 1990 by the U.S. Congress to diversify the United States. So if you win the visa lottery, if you're here in the United States and apply for adjustment or do your case and finish the processing for the case overseas at the embassy, you'll become a full permanent resident. That's not a problem, as long as you actually meet the requirements for citizenship. You can actually apply for the green card over there, and then after you get your green card overseas, you come back into the United States. As long as you have all the requirements for citizenship, it doesn't matter how you received your permanent residence card. I've actually represented people who've been here since literally Ellis Island was open, and they still had a green card and were able to apply for citizenship without a problem. So if you do win the green card through the diversity lottery, you are more than welcome to apply for citizenship. That's not a problem. We got a question on TikTok. It says, can someone travel with I-551 stamp outside the United States? Absolutely. The I-551 stamp, if you don't know what that is, if you lost your green card, you applied for replacement and it's taken too long, and you actually have you actually have the stamp to prove your permanent residence, you can leave and come back. With one caveat, though, if you have something pending in the United States, I always tell my clients, don't leave the country if you have something pending in front of the United States, and make sure that if you do leave the country, you don't actually lose your permanent residence or lose whatever application you have pending in front of immigration. So if you're applying for permanent residence, for example, or an I-751, don't leave the country while that's pending. Or if you have a naturalization case and you leave and come back, and they schedule your N-400 interview during the time when you're outside the country, they might not actually let you back into the country sometimes, and you will lose on your green card, and you will lose your green card, and you will also lose anything that you applied for. So don't. My general advice to everyone is to not leave the country while there is something pending in front of USCIS, or you're in the United States and you have a case pending. So that's the question that we got off of TikTok. Then next question I have is, how long does it take to become a citizen if I marry a U.S. citizen but we're not living together? Now, the general rule, like I said earlier, is you have to be a permanent resident for a certain amount of time. You have to meet physical presence requirements. You also have to meet good moral character requirements. So if you have problems like a criminal record or anything like that, I wouldn't apply for citizenship without speaking to an attorney. Please don't do that, because you might end up in removal proceedings. However, if you are married to a United States citizen and you're a permanent resident in the United States, the United States government actually takes off 2 years of the physical presence requirements, just because you're married to a U.S. citizen, and they want people who are married to U.S. citizens to be assimilated into the United States. So they give them a break on the physical presence and the amount of permanent residence that they have to have here in the United States before they can apply for citizenship. So if you have 3 years, you've been married to a U.S. citizen for 3 years, and the U.S. citizen has been a U.S. citizen for 3 years, there is no reason for you not to be able to apply. There's no reason for you not to apply for your citizenship under the 3-year rule, because you're married to a U.S. citizen. Now, there is a caveat in the question. It says, even though we're not living together, and that is a very, very, very big no-no. If you're separated from your U.S. citizen spouse, or you're in the middle of divorce or anything like that, honestly, I wouldn't apply for citizenship, because your spouse has to be there for you to actually get the citizenship if you're applying under the 3-year rule. So if you're not living together or you're separated or anything like that, I wouldn't do it, and I would wait for the full 5 years and try to reconcile with your spouse before you actually do apply for citizenship. So you can, just not when you're not living together with your spouse. The next question I have is, if I overstayed my visa by a few weeks, will I be deported forever? I don't think that you're going to be deported forever. The problem is, so there is a couple of things that the United States does differently. In any other country around the world, you get a visa for 5 years. That means that the visa allows you to stay in that country for 5 years. So you don't have to go renew it. All you have to go do is stamp it and come back. In the United States, we have something called period authorized stay. So if you come here, even though you have a 10-year visa, you won't be able to actually stay in the United States for more than 3 to 6 months, depending on how you came here. If you came in on the visa waiver or you didn't come in on the visa waiver, if you overstay your visa, technically you will be subject to removal proceedings if you get commit a crime, or you get caught by um, or if you get caught by immigration, or you commit a crime or anything like that, you end up in removal proceedings. Now, um, just because you overstayed by a few weeks doesn't mean that you're going to get deported forever. What it means is, it really depends on how long you overstayed and why you overstayed. So if you overstay, if you have illegal presence in the United States of 180 days or less, you should be okay. But if you have 100 between 180 days and 360 days, then you have some issues. You'll be barred from coming back into the United States for 3 years. And if you go over a year of overstay, or an amount of illegal presence of more than 1 year, yeah, then you will actually not be able to come back to the United States for 10 years. If there is any way that you can actually avoid being out of status, I would wholeheartedly agree that you actually should apply for an extension. If you know that you're supposed to stay here in the United, you're going to stay here in the United States for longer than authorized, what I would do is I would apply for an extension and see if the government would grant it to you, instead of you being undocumented in the United States. That's what I would do. But does it mean that you're going to be deported forever? Absolutely not. What I said is, if it's between 180 days and 360 days, I mean, you're going to have that 3-year bar or 10-year bar without being able to come back into the U.S. So the forever word in law is actually very distinctive, because forever means you have a permanent bar on you, and the permanent bar in immigration is very hard to get over, and it's going to be impossible to actually get over that. So if you have a permanent bar, it's going to be a problem. But no, you will not be deported forever, but you will have a hard time actually coming back to the United States. If you're on TikTok, I would really appreciate some likes, guys. I'm trying to reach 250. I would really appreciate some likes. And if you're watching us somewhere else, please follow us and like us. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. The fourth question that I have is, can I still apply for a green card if I have a criminal record, but it was a minor offense in my home country? There is something in the United States called inadmissibility. And inadmissibility means you're not admissible in the United States. Even though you're in the United States, you can't really you can still be inadmissible because of a criminal record. So this person who asked us a question said, do we actually, am I able to apply for a green card if I had a criminal issue in my country? And it really depends on what kind of issue it is. If it's a minor issue like a DUI or petty theft or something like that, it probably won't stop you from getting your green card. However, if we have anything that's related to drugs or murder or human trafficking or anything like that, it's really going to be an issue. If you have a criminal record and you're trying to apply for permanent residence, I wouldn't do it on my own. I would actually hire an attorney to do it for me. Now, we've been successful in doing these for a lot of people, I promise. Once I had a case with more than 400 pounds of marijuana trafficking, that I was actually able to get permanent residence for that person because of the definition of marijuana in his state. So if you actually are trying to get your green card and you have a criminal record, please don't do it on your own. Have an attorney look at your record and see if you should do it or not. Because if you don't get it, you're going to end up in removal proceedings if it's a serious issue. So please don't do that. Please don't apply for your green card without actually getting some advice if you have a criminal issue on your background. The next question is, I'm undocumented, but I pay taxes. Does that help my immigration case? Yes and no. Now, if you've never heard the word undocumented, the word undocumented means someone here in the United States without status. So they either overstayed their visa, or they came here and never left, or cross the border or anything like that. That's who we call undocumented in the United States. So if you are undocumented in the United States, uh, there are a lot of options for you to actually get your green card. You can get your green card by marrying a United States citizen if you came in. If you came in legally into the United States, you can apply for asylum. You can do all of that stuff. But the question specifically asks if you apply for if you pay for taxes, does that help my immigration case? Now, it does help in some situation if you're applying for some discretionary forms of relief, like what's called cancellation or removal. The immigration judge is going to look at your background and see if you've been a law-abiding citizen in the United States in the 10 years that it requires you to be here for you to be able to get permanent residence in the court. The issue that you will have, though, is that just paying taxes is not really enough, because there's an estimate like $11 billion in taxes gets paid by undocumented immigrants every year. So you want to have other things to actually strengthen your case in the United States, and then you have to really be. If I tell people that if you're undocumented, please don't do anything that would jeopardize your case and like commit a criminal act or get arrested or anything like that, because that would really harm you. I've seen the government literally place someone in removal proceedings like 10 days short of them being able to get their green cards. So if you are in the United States and you're undocumented, paying taxes really helps, but you need to put a whole packet together. You have to have a lot of community relations, a lot of things, not have any criminal record, not have anything that will negatively affect your character. And that will help when the time comes. That will actually help you getting your green card, whatever way you're getting it if you're undocumented. The next question is, if I get denied a visa, can I appeal the decision by going to court? Yes and no. Now, the United States is very stingy when it comes to visitor visas, for example. If that's actually what the person is asking, you have to prove a lot of things for you to be able to get a visitor visa to the United States. And if you do get denied, the best thing to do is to reapply, unless you have something criminal on your background that would stop you from reapplying down the road is going to be an issue. The problem you're gonna have is that there is really very limited appeals rights for you being outside the United States, for you to be able to actually appeal the decision of the denial of your visa. So if you're overseas and you got denied a visa by a consul in the consulate in the United States, there's something called the doctrine of judicial non-reviewability, consular non-reviewability, which means that the decisions of the consul are not being able to actually get reviewed in court unless it's a blatant thing that it's like race or nationality or something like that. It's very hard to get into court to actually appeal that decision or reverse that decision. But there are things that you can do, like speaking to an attorney and reapplying for a visa will probably be the easiest thing that you can do, and it would be cheaper, because a lot of attorneys that do federal court litigation, for them to take a case to sue the government for a denial of a visa, it will cost like $10,000-$15,000 to do that. So if you do get denied a visa, it's not really the kiss of death unless you have a terrorism on your background or anything like that. You can always reapply, but after you get denied, what I would do is I would consult an immigration attorney to do it for you instead of doing it on your own. I've done visitor visas for plenty of people in my 15 years of practice, and I'll be more than happy to help if you're trying to get a visa to come to the United States. I'm looking at TikTok and we're getting a lot of questions that are very specific. Here's what you can do, guys. I offer 15 minutes intake sessions with my staff on my website. Go to AmericanDreamLawOffice.com. If you're listening to me on any of the platforms, AmericanDreamLawOffice.com. Just go to AmericanDreamLawOffice.com, and there is a rep button in the front that says schedule a free 15-minute initial consultation. You can click on that and fill it out, and you can actually set up a free intake session with one of my staff members if you're looking for help with your case. I would really appreciate that. Please don't share a lot of specific details about your case on a public platform like this. And I really do not like answering specific questions. So if you have specific questions for me, again, go americandreamlawoffice.com and schedule a free intake session with one of my staff members. I would really appreciate it. Guys, we're very close to 500 hearts on TikTok. I would really appreciate it. We can get there. Thank you so much. We still have about 10 minutes, and if you can help me out, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. And if you're not following us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, please go ahead and do it. Our handles on everything is American Dream Law Office. So just go to any of those platforms and follow us. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. So the next question that I have is, I'm a refugee. Can I bring my extended family with me to the United States? Yes. The issue will be is, what do you mean by extended family? Like, you can bring your spouse and your children with you who are under 21, but anyone other than that is going to be almost impossible to do it if they don't apply for their own refugee status. So if your extended family applies for their own refugee status, that will be fine. They will come, unless they're a spouse or a child under 21. They will be actually included in your refugee status, and you should be able to actually come here to the United States with you. Also, if you apply for asylum here in the United States and your family is not with you, you can apply for family reunification with your spouse and your children, and you can use a form and apply for them to actually come here to the United States. And again, we've done that for a lot of people that we've helped win their asylum claims here in the United States. So you can absolutely do that. You can bring your family with you if you get refugee status or asylum status here in the United States. The next question I have is, can I get asylum if I'm fleeing persecution for my religious beliefs, but I don't belong to a major religion? Yes, you can. The issue is, can you apply for asylum status if you don't belong to a major religion? Absolutely. And I've done a lot of cases for people who are from minority religions or people who don't believe in a religion. If they are actually persecuted in the country of origin, you will be actually able to get asylum even though you don't belong to a religion or you don't believe in a religion. So if you're an atheist, absolutely you can apply for asylum, and I've done those cases for people before. So just call us, go to our website, americandreamlawoffice.com, and set up an intake session with one of my staff members, and we'll be able to help you if you're trying to apply for asylum. The next question is, will my social media posts affect any chances of getting a visa? Now, I don't know if you know this, if for anyone who never applied for a visa, the one thing that President Trump started when he was in office is he gave CBP the authority to look at social media posts on your phone or unlike your phone, to be able to see if you're coming here to the United States to do anything wrong, if there's anything on your phone that's terrorism related or anything like that. And during the Trump administration, that practice started of them looking at your phone. If you have anything bad on your social media, please don't post it. If you're trying to get a visa here in the United States, if you have some bad social media posts, I would take them off. The second thing that I would say, that I have had clients that actually came here all the way here to the United States, and they looked at their phone and they liked something. They looked at something inappropriate and they denied it. So please don't have that. Look at your phone. Look at your phone before you actually apply for your visa, because the government will actually look at those. So yes, your social media posts will actually affect your eligibility for a visa. If you are on TikTok, you're asking questions. We have a question about DACA recipients without degrees. Is there any hope? I really don't know. I'm waiting for the order from President Biden. He's supposed to sign it by the end of August, beginning of September, regarding DACA recipients. One of the things that we we got from the announcement when he um, announced that executive order that he's going to be signing is that he's going to be able to help people get jobs, be able to leave the country and come back if you are on DACA. So there is some hope. We just don't know how much hope I could give you right now because I don't have an idea what the executive order will have. Hey guys, we're about 90 hearts away from hitting 500 on TikTok. I would really appreciate if you guys can get me some love. Thank you so much. So if just wait until the president actually announces that executive order and call my office, or again go to my website right now and schedule a strategy session or an intake session with one of my staff members. It's americandreamlawoffice.com, and I'll be able to discuss your options with you. The next question is there a faster way to get a green card if I invest a lot of money in the United States? Absolutely. A lot of money green card, we call it an EB-5 petition, and that varies between $500 to $1.4 million for you to actually get a green card if you invest that much money. However, investing that much money is not the only way to get a green card in the United States through investment. For example, I've done investment green cards for people who have businesses overseas and come open branches here in the United States. And we do what's called an intra-company transfer. And they will be able to actually qualify for an EB-1 as an international manager. So without putting a lot of money into a company or into an investment into a U.S. business, you still can get a green card. You can also get a green card. I've done green cards for people with extraordinary ability. So, for example, if you have a patent or a trademark that's very big overseas and you want to come here to the United States, a patent for something that no one actually has will really help you get permanent residence in the United States. So just investing money into a business is not the only way to actually get a green card. We have 4 more minutes, guys. We're 44 hearts away on TikTok from 500. I would really appreciate some help, and I would really appreciate follow and love on the other platforms, guys. I think that was the last question I had on TikTok. So I'm gonna go back to my list of questions. The next question is, can I get a visa if I'm a freelance worker with clients all over the world? Yes, if you the one visa that I'm thinking of is an e-visa. For example, if you're one of 46 and a citizen of one of 46 countries in the world, we do have a treaty with the United States for you to be. The United States had treaties with 46 countries for you to come here as a freelancer and apply for your investment visa. If you're a freelancer with something very small like social media or anything, but you do have a huge book of business, that shouldn't be a problem. I've done them with a minimum like $20,000 investment for people who wanted to open their own businesses and stay in the United States. So if you're able to make an investment and open your own company and you're a citizen of one of those 46 countries, you are more than welcome to apply for a visa to stay here in the United States. That's not a problem. We have 2 more minutes, guys. If you have any questions on TikTok, go ahead and post them. We just hit 500 hearts on TikTok. I really truly appreciate it. And if you're watching on TikTok and you haven't followed us or liked our videos, I would really appreciate it if you can do that. I have 2 more minutes. If I don't have any questions on TikTok, I will answer one more. I am a talented athlete. Can I get a visa to play professionally in the United States? That is a very complicated question. One thing that I am going to say, though, if you are a very talented person and you, for example, you play on a Premier League team or something like that, or you received a lot of accolades or a lot of championships back home, anything like that, we can actually apply for a green card for you if you qualify. The second thing that you can do is there is the P visa where athletes can come here. You do need an organization and a sponsor to be able to get a P visa, but usually the major leagues in the United States actually use the P visa to bring their athletes here in the US. So if you find an employer willing to actually sponsor you for a visa, even though you're an athlete, you'll be able to do that. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. We had a lot of likes and a lot of people following us on TikTok and the other social media platforms. Again, if you don't follow me and like me on the other social media platforms, I would really appreciate it if you do that. Go on YouTube. Next week we're going to release the first episode of the podcast. Follow us and like us there. And thank you so much for following me today, and we'll be here next Wednesday.